Hello, everyone. This is Raphael Ray. What we're supposed to believe about the Ahmaud Arbery killing is that these three white men shot and killed an innocent man when he was just out for a jog just because he was black, just because they didn't like the color of his skin. Not only does this narrative go against human nature, because it's not really possible to hate a color like that, but they're not even letting us hear. It's especially unfair because they're not even letting us hear the testimony of these white men. We're not supposed to hear why they felt they had to kill him. We didn't hear what Ahmaud Arbery was doing other than jogging. We don't get to hear anything else. We just hear that white man killed a black man, and the rest is a lie. That they did it because he was black. That was their reason. Now, this is not the first time people have been screwed over for killing a black man and received an unfair, excessive amount of time. You probably remember the Derek Chauvin case. He pled guilty, but only after a while in jail when someone probably talked him into it. But anyway, about Derek Chauvin, it is the law that when a policeman is confronted with physical resisting of arrest, he has to pin down the suspect, and any helping officers with him has to let him. They can't stop him. Well, like with Ahmaud Arbery, we also didn't hear about what George Floyd was doing. We did not hear that he overdosed on fentanyl before that confrontation. By the way, fentanyl is a drug that accelerates your biology. It basically pumps you up so badly that you basically lose your ability to breathe, and it then kills you. George Floyd did it at just the right time and acted in just the right way for Derek Chauvin to put his knee on his neck so that it would look like he died from Derek Chauvin, when actually he died a few hours later in the hospital, and the autopsy revealed the fentanyl in his system. So this is not a means this is not really a means of cracking down on a bigotry, because actual bigotry is a matter of personal ignorance, which the Democrats are pushing way too hard against. They are over punishing and over commenting against, over condemning, and over lying against it. So it's not racism that they're cracking down on. What Democrats are doing is seeking to screw over and lock away any innocent, substantial patriots of substance that they can. They diabolically, ingeniously lie against us to make us look like we are, to make it look like we had it coming, and they lock us away for life, and even kill us in some instances, in some cases. Back in the 1770s, the French revolutionaries did something similar. If they couldn't have anything to screw you over, they would just accuse you with crimes against the people of France, and they would have you beheaded for that. The guillotine was a merciful form of execution because you don't feel any pain. But they did it to get all the good people out of the way for good. That is what it was all about. They lie to justify over punishing someone for some personal ignorance which isn't even realistic. And also, here's one other thing. As it is George Washington's birthday, it's February 22, 2022. George Washington, the only thing we're supposed to know about George Washington is that he owned slaves for a time. But actually, he inherited slaves, I think, from his grandfather. And not only was he very nice to them, not only was he distinctly kind, but he ordered them released in his will. So he was not the evil white supremacist dictator that we're supposed to think of him as. He was the first ruler who willfully rejected sovereign rule. He was the one who said that the leader of the people is to be the president, and we can just call him Mr. President. And from then on, we've been calling the office of the presidency Mr. President. This is something that most people don't hear about this because the slanderous lies have taken over so much of the mainstream, and I do mean mainstream news outlets, which really don't produce any news except maybe some weather forecasts and some facts about war, but that's about it. This is a distinctly evil time we're living in, and it's even worse because it's more widespread and more commonly cracking down on goodness and honesty than any other time in human history. The French Revolution was nothing compared to this, but there are several examples how when the left takes over, they make a point to get away to smear and get rid of the good guys for good. The French killed, and Democrats lock away for life, and it's all under dishonest accusations. The difference is the Democrats are much more clever in smearing now, and it's easy to see how. So there you go. I'm Raphael Ray, keeping honesty alive in a world that wants it dead. Good night.